Hey, welcome everybody. I hope everybody out there is doing fine and everybody can see me and hear me. I'm not at my computer, so give me a number one if everybody out there can hear me just fine. I've got a few different cameras going and some mics, so give me a number one if you can hear me. I'm seeing. All right, can everybody hear me? All right, there we go. I'm getting some number ones. There's not a lot of people on here just yet, so we're gonna give this a few minutes. I see Renee, Jan, Copy First, two of my moderators, Dee's Craft, Gina's here, Sue's here. Thank you very much, Sue. Happy Easter to all, and we got a little bit of a different live stream tonight. As you can see, we have some stuff out on this table, and I think it's very important at this point in time. Fluffy Otter's here, Teresa's here, Little Waffle 2, Nevada B, Dale, Not a Rich, Lucy Lou, The Source is here. Welcome. Seeing a lot of new names. Jennifer's here. With everything that's been going on, and we all are pretty well aware of the chaos that is taking place in this world, all right? So we don't have to really go over all that kind of stuff, and we're not doing that in this live stream. This live stream today is basically going to be on a lot of different products, different ways, different things, and I want to show you hands-on live. I thought about doing a video on this, but you know what? I thought it would be more impressive for you all just to see it live than watching a video, because I've done videos on a lot of things, but I wanted to do it this way so we don't have too many fancy lights or anything else. I got a lot of lights on me on the table so you guys can all see. I have a camera so you can see me. I also have a camera that's over here to this side here, so if I want to show you something, I can put it up there so you all can see what I am talking about. I hope everybody's been doing well. I see Sean's here. James, Dale, thank you all for joining in. I know it's Easter weekend and a lot of people are probably traveling, and I hope everybody stays safe while they are doing it. So, on a lighter note here, a lot of this stuff that we're going to be talking about today can all be found on my Amazon storefront. Now you can find that right in the description, or you can also just go right to the main page of my YouTube channel, right up in the right corner. You'll see the little Amazon up there. You click that, you can go there. Like I have said before, you don't have to buy anything from my storefront. You click, you go in there. I've broke it down into, I spent hours on this. I broke it down into all different types of categories and everything else for everybody to make it easier and everything else. Pitbull's here, how you doing? Mitch is here. And I just, I broke everything down. So this way here, it was very easy for everybody to find the products and stuff that they may be interested in. And then if you can't afford some of the stuff that I put in there, or if you want to look at other things, then you have an idea where to start and then go looking. Go on Amazon, start shopping, do whatever you got to do. Nevada B's here, Sister Marie's Kitchen's here. Nice to see you. And furthermore, if you do buy anything out of the Amazon store, yeah, I get a little bit of kickback from it. It's no big deal. I don't make a lot of money off of it. It is what it is. I made that mostly for everybody out there so people would have a guide to go by. And that's basically what it's for. That's what I put it out there. That's why I don't really push it that much. But in this video, a lot of the stuff that's on this table, probably 95% of it you can get right through my Amazon store. Now we got a lot of stuff that we want to talk about today. We want to talk about being prepared. Now, in being prepared, we all know that we have to make sure that we do have our foods and our water and water filtration, first aid, and all those types of things, okay? But do you all really know, because there's so many new people coming into the channel nowadays, do you all really know exactly what you need to be looking for and how to do some of these things? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Second Amendment's here, nice to see you. Kathy's here also. Rakamas, nice to see you. I'd like to thank all the members that are in here right now. We do have some stuff I'm going to talk about at the very end for any of the members that are in here. So continuing on, we have to make sure that we are doing things properly when we are putting away our food. Our dry goods, your canned goods, all this different types of stuff. There is just certain ways you have to do things in order for it to make sure that it's going to survive and it's going to, you know, last. Stuart's Prepping, nice to see you. Everybody go over and check out Stuart's Prepping channel there. Weeping Willow's here. So we are going to be discussing a lot of different ways and different systems that you can use to do your preps, and a lot of these are very inexpensive. Now, something that everybody really talks about a lot is mylar bags. All right. Now, for a lot of people with mylar bags, it gets a little confusing on what you can do, what you can put in there, what gets oxygen absorbers, what doesn't get oxygen absorbers, and all this different types of stuff. Now, there are ways around doing different things. Okay. So, as you take right here. This is 5 pounds of flour. As you all can see, 5 pounds of flour. This is dark brown sugar. And I can put this right over here so you all can see that. All right, now these were packed on November 8th of 2020. All right, now in my sugars, okay, I don't always put your sugar and your salt. You do not need oxygen absorbers. You want to suck out as much of the air as possible, and this is sugar. You want to get as much air out as possible and then seal it very well. All right, so you can see that is sealed very well. All right. Now, if you did put an oxygen absorber in with your sugar and your salt, what happens is it gets really hard. It will turn to a brick. All right, now a lot of different people and different channels and everything else. Pamela J, nice to see you. And Johnny, nice to see you too. And you know, a lot of people on a lot of different channels, you know, they all push away. Oh, you can't, don't do that, don't do that if you make that mistake. So if you made that mistake, I have a remedy. Okay? Now what happens is, especially with salt, it will turn into a solid block. So you'll have a block of salt instead of having the salt that comes out of your salt shaker. Okay? Everybody follow me here. So what happens is, you have to get out, everybody knows what one of these bad boys are. You have to get out the knuckle getter. That's what I call this thing here. Your little shredder here, alright? And you're going to want to use this side of the shredder. Alright? Not the big side. You want to use the other side. Now what you do is, you take that block of salt and you start shaving it on here. And what that's going to do is that's going to turn that block back into granular sugar or salt. All right. Same with your sugar and this type of stuff. If it gets really hard on you, use your cheese grater, your knuckle getter, all right, and make sure you use the right side, the little thin holes right there, and you can take and you can shave that bad boy down, and you're going to get right back to where it all started. Now, when you are using your oxygen absorbers and your mylar bags, depending on how much you want to pack away at one time is the size of the bag that you want to use and the different sizes of oxygen absorbers. Now, as you can see here, I have oxygen absorbers right here. All right. This one here is 50 cc's. These are 25 cc's. You see how small those are? So if you're doing a small bag of something, you use a smaller amount. The larger the bag, the more of these you need. Okay? And depending on if you're doing pasta. Pasta is I call pasta is the always add extra. And here's why. A lot of pasta has holes in it. There's room for air to be trapped. So if you think it calls for, say, 200 cc's, which would be 4 of these, I'd put an extra 100 in, because it's got to draw all the air out of your bag, right? And it also has to draw all the air out of where all the holes and stuff are in the macaroni. So pasta is something you always put more in. Unlike rice. Rice, you can go with the standard. If I did a big bag of rice like this, okay? If I filled this bag up and I did it, I'd put 200 cc's in here. It'd suck this thing right down to a block like these vacuum sealed bags, you know? I mean, this is a weapon, folks. I mean, that thing is not going anywhere. We're going to get the vacuum sealed bags here in a minute. Now, when you are using your mylar bags and stuff, there are different ways that you can use your mylar bags, and there's different types that you can buy that you have to be very careful when you are purchasing your mylar bags, because there are a lot of companies out there, they sell mylar bags, they look like they're going to be a great deal. Mitch, how you doing? Michael, how are you? Everyone for me? So you have to pay close attention to what you are doing and what you are buying. Because for the simple fact, some people try to sell you these mylar bags that are like, maybe if you're lucky, 2 mil. Ain't cutting it, folks. Do not buy anything less than 4 mil. Period. And that's pushing it in my book. Alright? Personally, I buy 5 mil and above. And when I catch the higher mil on sale, that's when I buy them, which I have right here. Alright? This bag right here, there is 120 oxygen absorbers and bags. Alright, these are 1 gallon bags and quart bags, and this is what they are. But can you see what that is? 8 mil. Alright? So this is what it looks like. Now I got these on Amazon, they had them on sale, so I bought them. Because these are very expensive. But these are very good. They're very thick. They're going to last. They can take being bumped against something, or if you're putting them in a bucket or a tote or something like that. You don't have to worry so much about, something a little sharp or something hitting them. All right? Papa's Farm, how you doing? You have to make sure that you're not buying something cheap just because the price is good. So you always want to make sure you're looking for that 4 mil, no lower than 4 mil. All right, that's your cutoff. No lower than that 4 mil, and you want to go up as high as you can, 8 mil, 10 mil, whatever you can find that you can afford, because they do get expensive. So if you see them on sale, buy them, because they're worth their weight in gold. Because you can store a lot of different things in these mylar bags. All right, folks. So the key here is making sure you're using the proper bags, the proper amount of oxygen absorbers, like I talked about. All right, now you can get oxygen absorbers 25, you can get them in the 50, you can get them in 100. All right, they come 25, 50, and 100. Sometimes you can find some place that's going to sell them, they're like 250 cc's a piece and stuff like that. It's on what you can afford and if they're on sale or not, because they do get expensive. Now in this pack here, in this jar, or right here, these are silica packs. Now you're asking yourself, what is a silica pack? All right, we're talking about oxygen absorbers. Silica packs is something that you're going to use if you're going to be doing some dehydrating that we're going to be talking about here real soon with this machine right over here. Now, you want to use that, and once you do dehydrate, whatever it is that you want to dehydrate, you want to use the silica packs, and you want to put them in your jar. You see that? That's what's left out of a whole jar that I did, and this was just, all this is your mixed vegetable, frozen mixed vegetables. You buy at your store, and everything else, and I take and dehydrate them down. I throw them in a jar with a silica pack, because if they're not loose like this, folks, and you didn't get them dry enough, what happens is mold will start growing in here. You see mold, it all goes in the trash. You just wasted your money and everything else. Silica packs will stop that, because silica packs pull the moisture out of your containers, whereas in oxygen absorbers pull the oxygen out. Two different things for two different types of storing your goods. All right, so that's what another thing that you really have to pay attention to. Now, when you go to seal your mylar bags, they do have mylar bags that have the Ziploc like thing on top, and then they give you like this ½ an inch that you can seal. Those are kind of nice, folks. Okay, I'll give you, because you can reseal it or whatever. I find them more of a pain in the neck, and here's why. You got to try to just seal that one part. Now, if you spend the money and you buy a mylar bag sealer, that is very easy. If you do it my way, because I don't have a mylar bag sealer, but if you do it my way, I use my piece of wood. You see how I just took and just put these two pieces of wood together, so I had one big piece on top, so it sits just like this on the table. I set my mylar bar grate on here, and then I use my handy dandy iron. This iron is what this is for. Now, once you start sealing, if you start doing a lot of it, the bottom of your iron is going to look like this. So maybe if you're out garage sailing, or you have an old iron in the house or something like that, I wouldn't highly suggest using your wife's good iron to do this with, because you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. So you want to make sure that you're using an iron that you really don't care about, because after you do quite a bit, and I've done a lot, after you do quite a bit, you're going to start getting marks on here and stuff. And I did see some stuff where, you know, you can clean it and all this kind of stuff. I don't bother. That's mine. I use it for sealing my mylar bags. But all you have to do is you take your mylar bag. I'm going to step right over here. So if it goes on here like this, as you all can see, you just put your iron down on here and you just hold it. You can do as much as you want. I would do at least a good inch. Now you can see I did 2 inches. I just wanted a good seal. All right, no less than an inch, and this way here you should be good to go. All you have to do then, once you do one side, you hold it down, count to 4. You turn the iron has to be on the hottest temperature. You hold it down, count to 4, flip it over, do the same thing, count to 4, and it's done. There you go. That's all there is to it. Very simple, and everything else. You know, your mylar bags and stuff, in my opinion, are your best way to store any of your dry goods, your products, and everything else. And you really want to make sure, if you're going to be spending your hard-earned money these days, and we all know how much it costs to go to the grocery store, and we know what it takes, and how much food is, and everything else, you know, if you can store in mylar, do it. If you can't, then you will move on to the other things that we're going to talk about. Now, speaking of mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, when you buy your oxygen absorbers, they're going to come to you like this. This is how they come. All right, they come in a pack just like this. That is all vacuum sealed inside of this bag right here. Now I haven't opened these yet because I don't need them yet. All right. So there you go. Now you can get a lot of different sizes of mylar bags. For instance, now a lot of you have seen this, because this is the pack that I throw in my backpack that goes with me if I go on trips or anything else, because then I got all the spices in the world. I can spice up anything. And I store mine because they're already in a mylar bag, and these mylar bags, you have a little Ziploc on them when you seal them because they're so small. All right, but they work. So I store them in just a regular old freezer bag, but look how small these things are. You see, folks? And that's what they look like. And these are all different spices. So you flip it over, you have sage, you have dry mustard. I'm just showing you a few. Oregano. We have some poultry seasoning. And that one I wrote on the front. Italian seasoning. Just going to show you just a few. But you see what I'm saying? Because you can take and you can do a lot of different things, from your spices to all your dry goods and everything else. You can do whatever you need to do with mylar. Now, moving on down the line, we're going to talk a little bit about vacuum sealing. Now, we all know vacuum sealing is probably a cheaper way for most people to go, because you can get a vacuum sealer relatively cheap. Now, the vacuum sealer I have, I got it on a Christmas special a few years ago. All right. Now, as you can see, this is, it's a food saver. It has the attachment right here that does, jars and all that kind of stuff and everything else. If you look right on the front, you can see that it has, your moisture, dry, accessory button, and the whole 9 yards. Now, that machine's probably going to set you back anywhere between $130 and $160 depending on where you buy it, unless you can catch it on a good sale. But there's a few things that you can do. Now, standard is everybody buys these rolls. Now, this is what comes with the machine. When you buy it, you do get a free roll. All right. Now, you can get a lot of bags out of here, which is a really good thing. I have plenty of these on hand. I also have, there's a company out there, and I have the thing right here, and you want to go to foodbackbags.com. All right. Now, they make pre-made vacuum sealed bags, but the cool thing is you can see how large this bag is going to be. So this bag is going to be this big. You order from this company, you can get bags this big, and see the difference? So you're not wasting as much. So if you're just doing something small, say you're a single person, an older person, maybe you live by yourself or something else, but every once in a while you see that really good deal on the family pack of meat in the grocery store. These would be good to take and put one piece of chicken in for you. All right, one pork chop, one drumstick or a thigh, whatever it could be. You could cut up a steak and vacuum seal and have several different meals. Now, they make bigger ones, as we all can see. All right, they make these. They make the big gallon ones, a quart, and this little mini thing here. All right. Those come in handy when you want to vacuum seal, especially small single-serve items. For all you people out there that maybe are you're by yourself and everything else, you can vacuum seal a lot of things, from dry goods to wet goods and the whole 9 yards. Soups and stews and things of that nature, well, they don't always work out that good. All right. Hey, JP, how you doing? Now, because of the moisture, the trick to that is, if you want to do your soups and stews and those type of things, is you have to take and you put it into your bag. Now, you take that bag, put it into your freezer, leave the bag open. Or if you want, you can pull the top over and put a clothespin on it, or whatever, paper clip, whatever you got in the house, and set it in your freezer. Wait till the next morning. It'll start to freeze. Dale, how you doing there, Dale? CCM, how are you? Catherine, how you doing? Once it freezes, and maybe it hasn't froze all the way, then you vacuum seal it. Because it's going to be frozen enough where it's not going to come out and go everywhere. Do not try vacuum sealing soups or stews or anything that's really wet, because as soon as you hit that button, you're going to have one heck of a mess. And it does have a catch tray in there, but it's not going to hold it. So that is one way that you can get around, a trick to get around if you want to do vacuum seal some of your soups and stews and stuff. Because we all know if you vacuum seal, especially your meats and everything else, they're good for well over a year. We've had chicken the other day that was from, I think, November of 21. You know, you always get those, you know, you try to rotate, but you always miss that one. It got stuck in the bottom of the freezer. You know, we got a small chest freezer, got stuck down there, and there it was. But you know what? It looked the same as the ones we just froze. So we popped it open, cooked it, tasted fine, no freezer burn, no nothing. You know, I mean, there you go, folks. This is a food saver, is worth its weight in gold in saving you money, and so that you can buy, especially meat, when it's on sale, and you can vacuum pack it, throw it in your freezer, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You got meat in your freezer that you bought for a good deal, and it's going to be good for probably a couple of years at least. You know, as long as it stays ice cold. I mean, this stuff, these chicken breasts were, what, a year and a half old? I mean, come on, you know. Now, when you do rice and everything else, now, I have done a lot of videos on rice, as a lot of you may know, and some of you maybe you don't know. But there are a lot of people that are always asking questions. Now, a lot of you do know why I store rice in smaller servings. I store it in 1 cup, 3 cup, and 5 cup. Now here's why I do that before we go on any further. Because there is a logic behind the way I store my rice. You store your rice in these different increments because rice will be the perfect barter tool if you don't have anything else and things went really bad. Well, I don't know. You're going to have something to barter with. Now, if you don't have silver, you don't have gold and everything else, then what are you going to do? Weeping Willow says, but if you lose electricity, you'll lose it all. I don't think I'd be best. I think it'd be best to can it. You can can it, but then again, I wasn't really going to get into that in this video, but if you have plenty of battery banks, generators, and things of this nature, you should be able to get through hopefully just about anything until you can get the power and stuff back on. And at that point, you're probably cooking for everybody in the neighborhood anyways. But canning, yes, you don't have to worry about having any type of electricity, any way to keep it cool or anything else. But a lot of people don't have room to store canning jars and all this, or they just don't can. You know, it's just, people are more apt to vacuum seal. But I agree with you. You know, it's something that everybody, you have to weigh your options. But anyways, back to the rice. What you have to really think about, folks, is you need stuff to barter with. So you want to make sure that some of the stuff you're doing is something that you can barter with. So with rice, you can barter with your rice, you can barter with flour, you can barter sugar, and especially salt. Now, why salt? Salt has a lot of different purposes that it can be used for. You can use it to clean, you use it for flavoring your food, you can use it for also curing your meats. So salt is worth its weight in gold, just like rice is, because rice, like pasta, is something that's going to last. I mean, the way I store my rice right now, this is out of its containers, all right? The way I store my rice is it's sealed, it's in a dark container, and no light, no nothing. And that's something you have to be aware of when you are vacuum sealing compared to doing mylar bags. This mylar bag, I can throw it on the shelf and just leave it there and it's going to be just fine. These don't like light. Food does not like light. So when you're doing all your different types of dry goods, your main dry goods, you know, make sure that you do some in smaller portions so that you have something to barter with. I have a whole tote that is full of 1 cup, a cup of sugar, 2 cups of like salt, and this cup of stuff, because that is my go-to barter tote. If I need to barter at some point in time, if something really happens, then you're going to have something to barter with. If you don't have like silver and gold and all this other kind of stuff, because a lot of people don't have that. If you do, that's fine, but do you really want to spend your silver or your gold at that point in time when you could barter probably with food and almost get what you want to begin with, and save that silver and gold for a more precious time when you might really need something more? You see what I'm saying? So in rice, everybody always asks me, you got to put bay leaves in it because of bugs. All right, there's a bay leaf in this one. As you guys can see, there's a bay leaf. All right, oh, you got to put oxygen absorbers in there. Yeah, you can do that too. There's some with an oxygen absorber. All right, that makes you feel all good and happy inside. You can do whatever you want. Or you can do it like me, and I just do mine regular. I did some with oxygen absorbers, some with bay leaves, some have both. This way here, we'll see what really happens in the end. Now, the one thing you have to be very careful of when using your vacuum sealed bags is they are very thin, all right? They're delicate. And if you do something with bones, you have to really pay attention because it'll poke a hole in here. 1, 2, 3. Chicken and steak bones, pork chop bones, they're notorious. There's always something that's sticking up somewhere or something like that. You gotta watch out for that kind of stuff. These you can't just throw around too much like you can these. These you have to be more delicate with because it will get a little hole in it and you may not notice it right away. And I check my stock quite often and I just take everything out and I make sure it's still like the rice. Once you vacuum seal it, it is hard as a rock. Now if you took it out and it felt like when you put it in there, you got a problem. And that's then probably if something you probably want to use as soon as possible. We have to make sure that you're doing things the proper way using your vacuum sealer, you doing with your mylar bags, your vacuum sealed bags and everything else. Now, you can folks, take and you can vacuum seal flour, you can vacuum seal sugar, salt, and all that. Yes, the salt and the sugar will probably turn as hard as a brick. And that's why you got to have your knuckle scraper here. But that's why you do this. Get yourself a sandwich bag. Good old sandwich bag. That's all it is. Alright, used to be able to buy these things really cheap. Now I think they're like a couple bucks or something for 40 sandwich bags. But anyways, you take the sandwich bag. You open the sandwich bag up. Now, when I'm doing any of my projects, when I'm handling food and stuff, I always wear gloves. Alright? So if you put your hand in here or you touch any of this, you have gloves on so I don't cross-contaminate. Even if you can wash your hands and everything else, all it takes is just one wrong move, touching the wrong thing at the wrong time and touch something else, and you're going to have a lot of problems. You take your good old sandwich bag here, just kind of like how we all used to take our lunch to school, until we got the nice metal lunch boxes. Remember those guys? So you take this, and you fill it up to roughly right about there. However much you can get in there. Now you can fill that up with your sugar, your salt, you can fill it with flour, anything like that. And then what you want to do is, you start from the top, alright? You're going to fold it, and then you're going to fold it back so it kind of comes up like this over the top, as you all can see. And then you fold it back over like this. At this point, you take your vacuum sealed bag And then what you're doing, and you would put your product into the bag and then vacuum seal it. Now, what that does is, hey JP, thank you very much for the super sticker, super chat. I don't see you didn't say anything, but hey, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm only acknowledging that right now because I'm not sending the computer and I'm going to lose it. As soon as it goes bye-bye, I won't be able to get it back. But once you do this, okay folks, once you take and you do this, it's going to be sealed in here, and you just sealed dry goods, because dry goods in your vacuum sealer doesn't work either. It all wants to get sucked out. So you can do it this way. If it does turn hard, like I said, make sure you got one of these knuckle busters right here, and you use this side, not the big side, you use this side, the coarse, and you can take and you can shave it right back down to what you need. See, Joyce is here, Gail's here. Now, speaking of canning jars, all right, wait, before we get to the canning jars, I got one more bag thing. And then we'll complete all the bags. So I've talked about mylar bags, I've talked about the vacuum sealed bags, we talked about the oxygen absorbers, the silica packs, all the different sizes, shapes, and everything else that you can get, how you can store your dry goods in your vacuum sealed bags using your good old lunch bag. Now, we have these. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know what these things are. The magic bags. Yes, you use your vacuum cleaner and you zip them right down. And you're sitting there saying, what are you going to store in there? These are incredibly useful. Now, they are sold as a product to vacuum seal using your shop vac or your vacuum cleaner or something like that. And this way here you can vacuum, as you can see in the pictures, you know, your pillows and your clothes and all that kind of stuff. Well, it has a lot more that it can do besides that. Now here, let me explain to you what me and my wife do. Now, I live in a hurricane-prone area. The beach is 10 minutes that way. All right. So, what we always do and how we store our picture albums, and we have a lot of picture albums. All right. Now, what you can do is you use these bad boys. Okay. You take your picture albums, and you can take and you can put them inside here, and then you suck all the air out of them. Not only does it help preserve your pictures that you are putting in there, it helps preserve and keep them dry in case something happens. You get a leaky roof. If something happens, you get a flood or something like that. You know, it's going to help keep those things dry. We also do store important papers in here. When the hurricane is coming, I have these fireproof pouches that I have talked about. I think I did a video on. All right, but to protect them even more, when we know a hurricane's coming, because see, the good thing, folks, is with a hurricane, you know it's coming. It's not like a tornado and, you know, a flash flood or nothing like that. You have some time. You can get prepared. So you use these things. You can put in all your important papers, your documents. Say you don't have a waterproof safe, waterproof bag or something like that. You can use these. Do up your papers, your passports, all your important stuff for your meds and everything else. And then you vacuum seal this thing down. They're protected. You don't have to worry about them getting wet. You know, I mean, they have more uses than just throwing some clothes in here and sucking it down and throwing it underneath your bed. These are also great if you are a backpacker. Now, let me explain why. We all know backpacks are only so big, right? But we also know we need to keep our clothes dry. Maybe you don't have that $400 to spend on that really good backpack. All right, it took me 2 years. I saved up my money and I bought myself one of those backpacks. But before that, I used all the other backpacks. Now I love all the other backpacks. Every backpack I have I love, but they all have different functions and features. You get what I'm saying? The most expensive one, I don't have to worry about. I can throw anything in there, it's not going to get wet. It's just the way it is. It's what you pay for. All my other backpacks, you know, I've treated them. You get the spray, you spray them down, anything else. They still, if it's pouring down rain, yeah, you can get the poncho thing, put over it and everything else to help protect it. But let me tell you what, if you're hiking and it's a deluge, those things eventually just give out because they're not made like a Gore-Tex waterproof jacket. But you take one of these bags, and what you do is, to save space, you roll your clothes. So if you've got a pair of pants and a shirt, maybe fresh socks, fresh pair of underwear, you roll those up and you put them in there. Now, you probably, in one of those bags, say that medium-sized bag right there, you probably can get 3 changes of clothes in that bag. Then you take and vacuum seal that sucker, and it's going to suck that thing right down to the size of a pancake. You know, it's probably going to be, if you're lucky, it'll be less than 2 inches when it's done. Now you put that in your backpack. Okay, you are putting weight, but it took and pulled that sucker right down, so you're saving space for more important gear. But you also have maybe 2 or 3 changes of clothes in case you get stuck in that rainstorm and you get soaked or something like that, because being wet and cold and maybe no fire is spelling of a disaster. So using these magic bags, if you are an avid backpacker, camper, or anything like that, and you guys like going out, these things have quite a few uses. I'm just telling you, folks. Alright, now we're done talking with bags. Let's move on to something else. We're going to talk canning jars. Now, a lot of people can. A lot of people don't can. But even if you don't can, you should own canning jars. Right now, at least at my Walmart, they're pretty well stocked. Now, back during the whole fiasco in 2020, well, you couldn't find any to save your life. So I would highly suggest the next time you go to your favorite store, go in there, pick up a couple cases of canning jars. They're going to run you anywhere between 12 and probably 18, 20 bucks depending on the size you get. Alright, now here's why. Alright, now when I do these, I do put oxygen absorbers in here. Now these are spices. This is large amounts of spice stored into the small canning jars. As you can see, this is a garlic powder. Can you see when I did that? 10/16 of 19. Alright, it's 2023 right now. But it's still good. Same with my onion powder. All these were done on the same time. That's my onion powder. And if you look, where's it at? It's hiding on me. It knows I want to find it. Alright, where's that little sucker at? Alright, if you look in the very end there, you can see there's the oxygen absorber. Store up a bunch of your good spices and stuff. You know, your onion powder, a garlic powder, paprika, chili powder, things that can really flavor up your dishes and stuff, because if something happens, this is going to be a lifesaver for you and your family. If you're cooking the same dull meal constantly and you don't have any spices, it's going to be very, very, very bad. Alright? Now, when you're doing this, as I said, you can use any spice that you want to use. You know, like I have Italian, I have crushed red pepper, I have sage, chili pepper, I have 2 or 3 things of adobo, because adobo, it really goes with a lot of different things, so I have a lot of that. You pack what you want to put in there. Now I wouldn't go with a jar that's much bigger than these little jars here, you know, because that's a lot of spice. You know, I bought this spice back when you could go into Walmart and they had those big bins they used to have out, and you used to be able to pick them up for like 88 cents a piece, you know, the little things. So I just buy a whole bunch of them and I brought them all home and I did them all up. But now prices have gone up, obviously. Sunset says, can a magic bag be vacuum sealed? No, it has the hole in the top. You have to use a vacuum cleaner or a shop vac or something like that. They do make a pump if you want to buy it that is made especially for these bags and stuff, but no, you can't use your vacuum sealer to do it because it's just the hole that you're sucking the air out of. There's no, you know, no way to seal that off. And the bags are huge, you know. But buying multiple styles of canning jars, you know, these are largemouth, as you can see. Well, I don't want to take the lid off, but these are largemouth. Then I have a whole case here. This is just your, you know, smallmouth. These are pint. And then I have more jars in the closet in the other room. I would eventually would really like to get into canning, and a lot of people keep telling me I need to do it and do it and do it. I just haven't got there yet. But having these canning jars, because you can store a lot of different things in them in an emergency type situation. Once you put these lids on, once you crank these things down, you know, they're pretty much watertight. Remember that. So I mean, if you didn't have anything else and you need, you know, you had important papers, maybe your wallet, maybe your place is flooding, you know, you can stuff your driver's license and social security card, credit cards and stuff, and stuff it in here and throw it in a bag or something. And, you know, I mean, there's multiple ways that you would want to be able to use these besides storing any type of foods that you can store that you know how to do. I don't know a lot about canning, and my daughter does a lot of canning. My mother did a lot. I used to help my mom. It's just something I haven't gotten into yet. It's something I'm looking into do in the future once maybe I have a little bit more room and maybe a little bit more time, because I think it is a very good thing to do to preserve your own food and stuff. And I do have some videos and stuff that are coming out talking about ways and things that we should be supporting and things that I'm looking to try to change myself, and in the way that I buy products and this type of stuff. But you all have to wait for that video to come out. So the last thing is I'm going to talk about, second to last, dehydrator. Now you've all seen my dehydrator videos. If not, there's a playlist. You can go back and watch some of the dehydrator. I've dehydrated potatoes, corn, mixed vegetables, all kinds of different things. Okay. Now, this particular dehydrator right here cost me like 59 bucks at Amazon. Now I don't know how much it is today. The one thing that you do have to do, right, and I'm going to show you, is if you look, you see how big those holes are? Well, you see how small these are? All right, you see how small those little pieces are? They fall right through here. All right, now take it from experience and my learning mistakes. You want to dry these mats, these little rubber mats. You see how fine those things are? All right, now they come and they're total square. And all you have to do is trace out your hole. So then you cut them down. You cut them down to fit the inside. And you just pop these bad boys right down here. And you put them on like that. And now you don't have to worry about anything falling through there. You don't have to worry about nothing. Everything that you put on this tray is going to stay on this tray. So if you're doing multiple types of things, say on this one you're doing green beans, the next one you could be doing corn, could be doing potatoes, whatever else, all right, peas, whatever, all right. So this way here, everything that you put on here stays on here. The beauty of this is, if you buy the right type of machine, you take this off, you take this off, if you have a dishwasher, it all fits into the dishwasher. And it's not really a big, messy cleanup. Which is a bonus, especially if you are a mom that is at home and you got to take care of the kids and everything else. If you can just throw it all in the dishwasher, turn the dishwasher on, clean it all, let it dry, and then put it all back away, because you frees up the time that you need to spend with your kids, help them with the homework, maybe cook dinner, whatever else. But having even just a cheap dehydrator. Yeah, you can buy dehydrators that cost hundreds, almost thousands of dollars. You know? Yeah, you can do that. But this little $59 little item here does great. I mean, I've done so much stuff with it. Like I said, go back and watch some of the videos or playlists on dehydration. You know? And I want to get back into dehydrating more, because I think it's very important, especially if you're not canning or anything. But if you can dehydrate your vegetables and everything else down, you know, having some fresh vegetables or something like that, it's worth its weight in gold, folks. So the last thing on this list is, once you've done all this kind of stuff, how do you store it? Now, like I said, I have different types of totes for different types of things. I have my one tote that I use, and that one is only for like my barter tote. Boom. If I had to barter, that's the only reason I'm touching that tote. That's all it's for. I have all my other totes that I store a lot of different dry goods in. Some of them do have some canned goods, because I have them slid underneath the bed and I have them layered. And you could also, if you were canning, depending on the size of your bed frame, or how much closet space or something you do have, you could always take, you know, a lot of people put them back into the boxes here, and you can take and you can stack those. Those will work perfect. You can also take and get a tote, and you can stack maybe some of them in there, and then slide them and put them away also. Now, another thing that I do, that I started with, when I first started my YouTube channel and everything else, I started with these buckets. Now I got a lot of these, all right? 5-gallon buckets. But in this 5-gallon bucket that I packed on 8/21 of 2019 is 10 pounds of flour, 8 pounds of sugar, 2 pounds of salt, 2 pounds of brown sugar, 2 pounds of white rice, and 2 pounds of red beans. Now, I'll bring this over here so you all can see. All right. Now I have several of these buckets. Now this is a food grade bucket. Now, you don't have to buy the food grade bucket. After I started doing all my prepping and stuff, it dawned on me, well, if I'm putting stuff in mylar bags, it's a brand new bucket. All right, now you're not going to use something you have paint in or gasoline or something like that. It's a brand new bucket. All right, you can wash it out if you want, make sure it's good and dry. But if you're putting stuff in your mylar bags, if you're putting stuff in your vacuum seal bags, even if you want to stack your canning jars in there, all right, you put the lid on, you hammer it closed. 1, no light gets to it. 2, it makes it even harder for critters to get to it. All right. 3, it has a handle. It's very easy to carry around. And 4, they stack very nice and very high. Trust me. Now, when you're storing any of these types of products, any type of food product or anything, if you live in a perfect world where your garage stays at that constant, let's say between 60, 65 degrees, okay, you can store stuff in your garage. You never have to worry about it going any colder, any hotter, or anything else. Which, for most of us, we don't live in that perfect world. So you never store any of your preps of this stuff in a garage. A basement is perfect because usually basements stay pretty much the same temperature year round. It can be 100 degrees outside. You go downstairs in your basement, it's like somebody's got AC on. I was born and raised in Indiana. I know what it's like. We had a basement. That's where, well, Mom had all her canning jars. So you want to store them where it's the coolest place in your house. It's the darkest place in your house if you're not going to put them in to buckets or totes or something where there's no light can get to them. Spare closet works. Somewhere where it's going to be temperature controlled. Like down here in Florida, it's got to be inside your house where you have your AC and everything else, because this way here, it keeps it temperature controlled and you don't have to worry about it. JT, nice to see you, JT. The key to all of this is the way you store your products. Now here's why. If you store them out in your garage, the heat is going to destroy this food 1, 2, 3. It can't take the heat. Now, certain products don't like the cold either. So if your garage gets below 0 and everything else, it's going to have the adverse effect on it. And what happens is when it starts to warm back up, then it gets moisture inside of the bag, and now you have a whole nother set of problems. So you really have to pay attention on how you're storing your products. You want to make sure you're storing them either inside in your basement, or maybe you have a root cellar outside that you store your potatoes and this type of stuff in year round. You know, it stays nice, it's temperature controlled because it's underground and whole 9 yards. Okay, store the stuff in there. All right, just be very smart about it. Just store it all in there, and this way here, it'll always be there for you when you really, really do need it. So today's video, I know it's a little bit different than what I'm normally doing. Usually I sit behind the desk and I talk to you and everything else, but I wanted to do something hands-on. I wanted to show you some things, and I have other videos I'd like to do like this. So I'd like everybody to put in the comments, you know, if you really like once in a while having a video like this where it's just not me talking, it's me showing or demonstrating or doing something, because I think that's more important. I think people can learn more by seeing the products and everything else. I think it just, you know, it's just more, it makes it more engageable for you to want to pay attention and learn what is being talked about instead of me just sitting there. Now, I'm not going to do these all the time, you know, but I like to do them maybe once a month or something. You know, do different things. You know, kick it up a little. Do something different. You know, I mean, we don't all have to do everything the same way as everybody else does. I'm not like that. I want to do something different. I want to be different. I don't want to be the same, if you get what I'm saying. You know, life is too short. We don't want to go through life just being a follower. I want to be a leader. I want people to understand what I'm talking about. I want people to see what I'm talking about. You know, and this way here, it makes it a lot better for especially all the new preppers that are out there, everything else. They can see, they can get ideas and everything else. If you do have questions, anything like that, if you want to put it in the comment section of the video. When I get done, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to look. If you don't like using the comment section, because I know there are people, because I do get emails, all right, you can email me. My email address is right in there also. So you can email me, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I'd like to thank all my mods for being here today. I'd like to thank all the members for being here today. I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out on this Easter Eve to spend with me. Live streams are back on, and we are going to be doing our live streams normal now. Everything has somewhat got back into order in my home, and yeah, it was one day at a time, but we're getting there and everything else. JT, I saw your comment. You're going to come over here and show me how to can. Well, maybe we'll have to make a dinner date. And but I'd like to thank everybody for everything that you do for my channel. I know I have not been around too much because of the certain circumstances that have taken place in my family, which a lot of you already know about. And I wish that everybody, and I'd like to thank everybody that did send their well wishes and their condolences and everything else to me and my wife. We really do appreciate everything and all the very kind words that everyone did have. Also, to deal with the members, I am working on videos right now for members only. You're going to start seeing more stuff for members only. Once a month we're going to start having a members only live stream. I'm going to try to get those planned out so you all can, you know, set reminders and everything else for all you members, because that's something I really want to do. And like I did discuss with the members before, we're going to do one live stream a month for just members only. It'll be a different time. You don't have to be a member of this channel. It just helps this channel out. It helps me do things and everything else. Hopefully within the next month or so, I'm looking into doing another giveaway and working on getting that done. Funds are, you know, I've had to put money into other things at this point in time, but things are getting back around, and we want to make sure that we don't get away from doing the giveaways, because I love doing giveaways. They are so fun. So everybody just needs to remember, you need to be prepping right now. What you do now is something that can be very a saving grace in the darkest times that we could be going through. Having stuff to fall back on, even if it's just a little bit at a time, is better than nothing. And this is just the beginning. You know, you still have all your different canned goods that you can buy in your grocery store. You have canned meats, you have canned potatoes, you have all these different things that you can add to all these things, so that you and your family, in the end, are going to be prepared. That is so very vital, folks, with the times that we live in. We already have wars upon wars taking place. Think about it. It's only a matter of time before something drastically does go wrong, because there's too many crazy people out there that are sitting in the higher up chairs that are just itching to do something. And we have to be prepared. Nobody is going to be there to save us. I know a lot of people don't like when I say that, but it's the truth. It's the God's honest truth. You have to look at prepping as you're prepping to save you and your family. You're doing whatever you can do, whether it be a 5-pound bag of rice a week, a 1-pound bag of rice per week. After a period of time, it all adds up, folks. Go back and watch my videos where I did $10 a week for a month. $10. Less than $40, and you should see all the food that I got. Just telling you. I did it. So I could prove to you all out there, $10 is the difference. Forget that Starbucks coffee once a week. And you're well over halfway there now. So I'm Survival Preparedness Beginners. And I really do appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate how everybody out here is one big, great community, family. We all stick together. Yes, there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in this world, but together we will all get through it. We always can learn something new every day. Knowledge is our main key. It is the main tool in your toolbox, is what is here. Because they can't take that away from you. They can take all this, but they can't take this. Got it? So everybody has a very happy Easter, and I will see everybody next Saturday night at 7 p.m. I'd like to thank all my moderators for being here. I'd like to thank all the members. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for all that you do for this channel, for liking, for subscribing, for sharing all the videos and everything else. There's a ton of stuff that's coming out this week, just a lot of great videos and everything else. There's a really good one coming out tomorrow afternoon. If you have time on Easter, if you're full from having Easter dinner and you want to sit back and watch something for about 8-9 minutes, please feel free. So until next time, folks, I'm Survival Preparedness Beginners. You all stay safe, you keep prepping, and I'll see you all next Saturday. Now I gotta walk over there to turn everything off. I don't have a laptop. No laptop. I guess I should work on one of those, huh? Probably be kind of handy. All right, everybody stay safe. You all keep prepping. Keep your head above water. We're gonna make it. No problems.